Hello, welcome to another episode of Seeking Mount Parnassus. I am Derek.
And I'm Katana.
We have been gone for 2 weeks, or a week, I don't know.
I think it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's been 2 weeks. We've been through the business since then. Not really. We've been through uh, some times that have caused us to not record a podcast in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're back and we're here with you, the listener. According to RSS, there's 36 listeners. If you're one of the 36, thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate you. You're such a great person. I'm happy to know you covertly somehow through the internet. We are here today on April 4th? 5th. It's April 5th. We're in this period between eclipses. We're in an eclipse portal, gateway, whatever you want to call it. That's where we're at now. We're in Aries time of life. If you know anything about astrology, the sun has entered Aries. We're in the Aries time, and a lot of things are in Aries right now. The North Node, Chiron, the sun,
Venus just entered. Mm-hmm.
And we're also on the edge of the conjunction of Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus, which will happen on the 20th or 21st of this month. So this period of time in your life is probably difficult, probably experiencing difficulties, suffering, miseries. People are probably yelling at you. You're getting in constant arguments with others. There's people are dying. You're on the edge of death yourself. Hello, welcome.
Oh, yeah, and Mercury is also in Aries now, retrograde.
So. Oh, right. Mercury is in retrograde, so we're also in a period where no one responds to emails. There's no...
Even more than usual.
Even more. No one answers the phone. You call someone, they don't answer. They don't call you back. Mm-hmm. The paperwork gets lost. Mm-hmm. The deal gets forgotten about. The whole shebang. Mm-hmm. We're in that period of time as well right now. And it's not a mystery as to why. That's one of the reasons why Mercury in Aries is in retrograde, which will happen up until the end of this month, basically. So we're here with all those things happening. But we're also alive. Katana isn't feeling too good. Her throat is all swollen up. She's got a sickness. As I'm saying this now, some person has just pulled in, unknown, had no clue that this was happening. A guy has pulled in with a trailer. God knows what's going on. Wasn't alerted. Might be some sort of unnecessary brush cleanup happening today. I apologize for any type of brush cleanup sounds you might hear.
Hopefully there won't be too many
during this podcast. But anyway, Katana is feeling a little bit swollen up in her throat.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but I think I can at least talk. So that's good. I didn't lose my voice completely.
Great. Today we wanted to talk about, I don't know, really. You know, we're here, we're alive. We keep trying to be on the path. The path means towards awakening, towards enlightenment, towards being free from samsara and suffering. And what we found that when you're on the path, suffering finds you constantly, almost every single day. There's some reason. It's usually caused by your own mental afflictions of your mind. So that's where we're at now. We're in a period of time of transition, just like every other day in life, really. We pretend like that's not what's going on, but that is what's happening. And it is literally happening for us as well. We're in a period of transition where we don't know where we're going to live. Suddenly, we got to find a new place to live. We got to find a new way to live. And what an excellent time to be alive, to be on the edge of the unknown, looking down into the crack. What might be next? Could it be, is there the devil down there? Or perhaps a furry creature of love? Or maybe a comical leprechaun? Maybe dancing, smoking a pipe, telling riddles in the dark. I don't know. Anything is great. Anything is as good as everything. So that's where we're at now. And we're here together. Katana and I are here together. Later on today, I'm going to go pick up my daughter. 3 of us will be together for the weekend to be in our own way of life, living comfortably in the mountains, New Mexico. Excellent. What a great life we've got. I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm happy to be able to drink coffee, to be able to look at Katana and be seeing her. She's a beautiful woman. It's an excellent way to be alive. I'm so grateful to be alive. It's great.
Oh, thank you. That was a beautiful thing to say.
I made this coffee and I put all kinds of different types of shit in there. No one would like this coffee except me. There's honey, chocolate, syrup, cayenne pepper powder, like red chili powder, milk, cinnamon, vanilla, raspberry flavoring.
Holy shit, you put all that in there?
And butter. This coffee is not for the weak or faint-hearted. And I'm drinking it. It's really good. It's like it's kind of thick though. There's all kinds of floating pieces of butter in there that I have to try to swallow down, which is a difficult task, which is fun. It's like a game for my throat. Why just drink something easy? I want to drink something a little bit hard. You know, I want my throat to really know it's alive. And the one way I can do it is by mixing all kinds of weird stuff in and then drinking it down.
Excellent.
Katana's looking through a book.
I was just looking for this quote, but I don't know if I'm going to find it because, of course, when you look for something, you can't find it. But I was looking for this quote. We were reading from this book this morning called Zen Seeds, Reflections of a Female Priest by Shundo Oyama. This is a book I've had for 20-some years. It was published in 1990. But it's a beautiful book, and it's just an excellent support during times of suffering and misery because she's so good at being very clear at the purpose of suffering and how to have courage in the face of suffering and to just remember what it is that we're doing. And we forget so easily. And I think that with all the Aries energy right now, it's about spiritual warfare, especially with the North Node in Aries. And the eclipses are Libra Aries eclipses because it has to do with the nodes being in alignment with the sun and moon. So Monday, April 8th, 2024 will be a complete solar eclipse.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a solar eclipse in Aries. It's an Aries new moon. So that means the sun and the moon are in Aries. And, you know, it makes the moon will block out the sun from the earth, but not from everywhere on the earth. You won't be able to see it everywhere. But that's kind of closing out this eclipse portal, which is about 2 weeks. The lunar eclipse happened in Libra at the Libra full moon, which was March 25th, I think, right around that time.
Yeah.
And then in this period of the eclipse portal, all kinds of things happen. And it's often a time of crisis, like you were saying.
Yeah.
Change. And the day after that, we got notice that we will have to leave the place that we have been living and working for the last 5 months or so.
Right.
And interestingly, we got this job during the last eclipse portal.
Yes.
So it seems to be closing out a chapter, which is interesting, but we don't know what the next chapter is going to be.
We don't know where we're going, and we don't know where we're gonna live, and we might end up in a gutter like a rat.
No.
But probably not.
Are you going to read that rat piece?
I do want to read the rat piece, yes.
All right. Well, maybe I will stop looking for the quote, but it was basically, she talks about the word saha, S-A-H-A, and that in saha in Sanskrit means suffering, and just about the world being this realm. In the Buddhist teachings, the first noble truth that the Buddha taught is that this is a world of suffering, the truth of suffering.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so easy to forget that. And we get so much propaganda about happiness and fulfillment and this and that, you know, but the underlying nature of this entire realm of existence is suffering.
Right.
And that's not bleak. It's not meant to be depressing.
No.
It's actually the first step towards helping us become free.
Right.
Because it gets us out of the expectation that it's not going to be that way, and that things are supposed to be smooth and easy. And, you know, if you just have the right money and the right clothes and the right job and the right friends and that everything's just going to be great. And you should just manifest happiness all the time. It's not what's going on here.
No.
It's just not the nature of this realm. You know, even if you have everything that's perfect, you're going to lose it. Because the nature of everything here is impermanence.
Right.
Everything dies, everything breaks, everything fades away. We die, everyone we love dies. So to not acknowledge that is a recipe for suffering. There is no way to get through this realm without knowing where you're at.
Right.
Where we are is samsara, is the realm of suffering.
Right.
And what does that require? I think it requires a massive amount of courage. And that's where the Aries energy is helpful. You've got the warfare, spiritual warfare happening. What is the spiritual warfare? I mean, who are we battling? You said the mental afflictions, and then we were talking earlier about demons.
Right.
I mean, the demons are real.
Yes.
And we think of them as something like an external energy, but they can be translated as a mental affliction for American audiences of just thoughts that beset you unexpectedly that are dark and hopeless and selfish and all fucked up, basically.
Right.
But to us, they really do feel often like they're an external energy that just comes in out of nowhere because we can tell that it's not actually who we are.
Right.
It's not our energy. It's not our normal way. But then all of a sudden, it's like completely to overtaking your mind.
Right.
Full of negative thoughts and despair and darkness. And I think the best thing to do is to recognize that that's what's happening.
Right.
And then that's it. That's a demon. And it is calling you to battle. And what are you going to do? You know? I mean, it seems like the best form of battle actually is just to ignore it.
In the Seven Samurai. No. In what the fuck is it called? The Japanese version.
Seven Samurai.
The Seven Samurai. Yeah. We didn't watch that movie, but we watched The Magnificent Seven, which was a take on the Seven Samurai.
We watched like half of Seven Samurai.
Did we?
Yeah, and then we bailed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the scenes, the samurai, he's trying to interview the samurai, and they keep testing the samurai so that they know if they should pick the right one. One of the tests is a student samurai hides behind the door and attacks the samurai as he enters to see if he will be able to respond to a sudden attack. One of the samurais doesn't even go into the door of the interview because he knows that it's a trap. And I think this is an excellent lesson in life that with demons and relating to demons. Sometimes when a demon is coming to attack you, the best thing to do is not go in to the house.
Like not engage at all.
Not engage.
Yeah.
That's the best form of combat with some demons. Because some demons, when you start to acknowledge them, they are annoying. You know, suddenly you're crying, blah, blah. You know, I'm so sad, I'm so mad, I'm so this, I'm so that. Whereas if you just are like, fuck you, this isn't my thought, this isn't real, this is a demon, goodbye. It just goes away because it's not real and it's not you, it's a demon. Some demons need to be ignored and not engaged with, which is a form of combat. If you can see that you're entering an ambush, you don't want to go into the ambush. That's not passive. It's not a passive form of combat. It actually is an aggressive form of combat. But it takes skill and a skilled mind or a skilled soul to know when not to engage, when not to strike, when not to enter into the dojo of the demon who's going to fuck with your mind. You know, you can fuck with your mind. Your mind is fucking with you enough.
Right.
You don't have to engage with demons as well.
Right.
You know, just living your daily existence in your mind is difficult enough without a demon coming at you with negative thoughts and negative emotions and all this.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's also this practice in Tibetan Buddhism called chode, which comes from like cutting demons. It's like a demon cutting practice. But part of it has always been about like welcoming the demons. And then there's that quote I read you this morning, where that saying, you know, what the Zen master created a scroll that said, "Welcome the Great Bodhisattva of Hell."
Yes.
And we thought we need to put that on our wall. But I'm always, you know, it's somewhat confusing to me about that. You know, if you're welcoming the demons, what does that mean? I mean, they're welcoming them in the sense of acknowledging that they're there and not just fighting, you know, having too much resistance. But then also, it's like you don't want them to come in and live in your house. You know, you don't want to make them too comfortable,
right? So
that they'll just stay there. So I don't know. I guess it's like if you react too much and you're too fearful or you're too, you know, then it just gives them more energy. So maybe that's what the idea of welcoming them is about. Of just, they can be here, sure, they can be here.
Yeah,
they have no power over us, really.
Right.
So there's no problem if they're here, but that doesn't mean we have to listen to their ideas. No. You know, or do what they say. No. You know, I mean, it's like, all right, if you want to come in, you can sit on the floor over there. That's fine. But we're not going to change our way of life just because you're here. Right. So, you know.
You're going to have to get on our program.
Exactly. And then ultimately they don't like that, so they just go away. Right. I mean, they want attention, they want energy, they want to control the situation. And if they can't do that, I think they just are like, oh, well, this isn't going to work. Right. And they move on.
We've been thinking about these types of things over the last few days. Because, you know, when you decide in life that you're going to be on the path, then it's like an ongoing ride that you can't get off of. So when you step aboard the ride, God knows what might happen. And here we are on it. We don't know what's going to happen. We just don't know. So all we can do is accept the truth, whatever that is, each day. The truth is coming for us on the path, and we can just accept it and move on and understand that we need compassion for ourselves and that we are one with the truth, and that we have to let go. Just let go of our own idea of what it means to be alive. And what, you know, let go of our seeking fame, fortune, titles, acknowledgement, and just accept reality for what it is and move on. We've been thinking about these types of things over the last week or so, and how do we move on? What do we do? How do we let go? We thought we were just going to let go by literally letting go of everything in our lives. But it turned out that when you start letting go, there's a lot in there, way more than you thought that needs to go as well. And we're learning that we've got a lot. The suitcase is filled with a lot of shit that we did not know needed to be removed out of it.
Interesting, yeah. I had this dream last night that you, me, and Celia were in the house, and then suddenly this roving band of freaks. It was like Mad Max / The Road, like post-apocalyptic world.
Mm-hmm.
These people were crazy, all fucked up, wearing like crazy clothes, all, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they came and basically they were like taking over our house
Mm-hmm.
and our place that we were living. And we, I guess, just accepted because there were so many of them. Like, I think at one point you were considering whether you should shoot them all or something. And I don't know. We just decided, okay, we'll just go.
Yeah.
It's time to go. And so we had to pack up our stuff in a really short amount of time. And we were telling them, like, we just need a few minutes to get our things and we'll leave. But the interesting thing about it, what you were just saying, was that in the dream, I was aware that we had already reduced all of our stuff down to what we have now, which is like, you know, one, like the books were in it. There was one bookcase of books, which is what we kept. You know, I had this very vast library of books, and we kept one bookcase.
Right.
And in the dream, it was like I had to reduce it even more to what can I actually carry with me and like fit in one suitcase. So I think as a symbolism of what you're saying is that while we did let go of a lot of things, there's more to let go of. It has to get down even more to what is essential. This made me think of the poem that Sienna sent, so I thought maybe I should read it. What do you think?
Dear Sienna, listening, thank you for your poetry. Also, thank you for courageous action. You're on the path, whether you like it or not. I respect that choice and give you commiseration. I understand what it's like to be on the path, and I understand what it's like to be suffering where no one, seemingly, you know, physical humans, where no one helps you. You're alone in the night. There's no consolation prize. Thank you for your courage and your action. It does not go unnoticed. Katana and I appreciate and acknowledge your courageous action, and it should be applauded, which it is. 2 is enough.
Courageous action is an excellent Aries. If you want to boil Aries down to 2 words, I guess if you do, you boil it down to 3: courageous action and truth.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know. Okay, so this poem was written by Sienna. Hopefully I do it justice in reading it. It does not have a title. I don't think we want to be free. We don't want to be liberated because our chains are comfortable, familiar. We forgot how they became a part of us. I don't think we want to be free because freedom means the truth, and truth hurts. We'd rather stay confined in the prison we built to be able to point, to blame something for our misery. Everyone is in prison. Therefore, that's the way it's supposed to be. Those on the outside are outcasts. We don't want to be free because freedom means everything is unknown. Great job, Sienna.
Wow, that is an excellent, excellent poem.
Perfect for this time, isn't it?
It's perfect. We never know what the fuck we're doing.
No, we don't.
I mean, I've been thinking about, should we read the poems? Should we do this? I don't know when. I don't know what we're even talking about or when we were going to record another podcast. But apparently that poem was written exactly for this moment, for this podcast. And I greatly appreciate the poetry. Poetry is not unique to the individual. Poetry is the truth. And sometimes individual souls are able to pop it out into the human realm so that we can hear what the fuck there is out there, the truth. And I think that's why it's so touching and so moving for so many people, and why it will always be there, and it's lasted the test of time since the beginning of the dawn of time. Poetry is the truth, and it keeps it hasn't been killed. That's one thing. Poetry hasn't been stamped out in this modern day of propaganda. Poetry still exists because it's the truth, and sometimes the truth comes to individuals, and I'm greatly happy that it keeps happening. It makes me feel good.
Yeah, I think that's true for all art, really. And we were having this conversation with a friend of ours who's an artist as well earlier this week, and the thing about being connected to something greater and then being a channel for something to come through, but also that the vehicle or the doorway through which it comes is mostly through pain,
right,
and suffering,
right.
And then the more we can access that, the truer the art becomes.
I've got a poem.
Great.
I wrote this poem one day after we got the news of the move, March 27th, 2024 at 9:14 a.m. The poem is entitled Mixed. It's written by me. Another path opened up by the truth, mixed with karma. Tragedy of a disturbed consciousness. We are agitators. We circumambulate the inside of the eternal washing machine. Nothing comes out the same, not around us. This is really going to hurt. His horses know more than him, but they still try to kick us. His dogs beg for treats, then growl at us. The slumped-shouldered little boy creeps through the bushes, awkwardly saying hello. We know the truth. We are agitators. We cry for the land. The bushes are our friends. Another path opened up by the truth.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Poetry. Poetry tells the tale, and it doesn't need any other types of explanation. It doesn't make sense, and it makes all the bit of sense. And I'm grateful to be part of it.
I am too. I'm grateful that you are able to share that way of communication. I have a different way. I mean, I can write things sometimes, but it doesn't come the same as your poems, and I really appreciate them. And sometimes it's like the only thing I can stand to read is your poetry, because it's the only thing that just feels true in the reality of whatever's happening.
Right. I don't really know what's going on out there. I tried to write a story yesterday. I don't know what it was about exactly. I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know. I don't have any secrets, answers. I don't have any clue. All I know for sure is that we're alive and we're in the truth, not in a new age type of way. We're not sitting in our truth or any other shit like that.
Or speaking our truth.
We're part of the truth, literally the truth. And that's all that I need to know. The truth will tell us what to do because it will pop into our reality and give us some clues as to what the fuck is going on. And then we can figure out what the hell we're supposed to do when it knocks on the door. But until then, I don't know. Here we are in New Mexico. We're on the path. We're trying to be free. We're trying to have compassion, mostly for ourselves. And we're alive. And that's enough. That's enough at this moment. I don't know if we're going to change the world. I don't know if we're going to be some sort of shining light for the human race. I don't know what is going to happen, but I do know that the truth is on our side, and we are on the truth side, and that's enough for me, and that's enough for me today, especially this moment. The Zen the Zen practice is often just being alive in this moment. It's not a gimmick. There's no gimmicks involved. It's just being alive in this moment right now, today. And that's what we are. We are that for sure. And that's enough. And it can be enough for everyone, but, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's another Aries, being in the present moment. It's an Aries gift to be able to be fully in the moment, be fully alive in the moment.
Yeah.
That's what makes Aries an excellent warrior, because a warrior has to know what's happening in the moment and be able to respond immediately in the moment.
Right.
Aries is not known for planning, strategy, analysis, all of this kind of reflection,
Right.
which can be obviously a detriment to Aries at times. But the strength of Aries is to just, react.
Right.
What do you do in the moment with no premeditation, no post analysis? It's just being alive in the moment after moment.
Right.
So I think the Aries energy right now, I mean, sometimes when we're lost, which is frequently,
Right.
astrology is a helpful reminder, or it's just a helpful pointer. It doesn't give us the answers, but it gives us a general direction.
Right.
So with the North Node in Aries for a year and a half, whatever situations encounter us, not that, well, interesting.
Yeah.
I said it that way, isn't it?
That works.
The response that's called for is an Aries type response. So then we know if we're having a hard time to determine what to do, to lean towards Aries. So
Right.
Aries, action, courage, spontaneous, in the moment, a warrior mentality, maybe direct conflict, the truth, all of those kinds of things. And that's what we've been doing. And, sometimes it's difficult, but it's also helpful. I mean, it cuts right to the heart of things. And I think that's the thing, when you're confronted with something unknown. We thought we were going to be living here. We signed a contract for a year. That would have been until November. So in our minds, we thought, all right, well, we have till November.
Right.
We don't know what we're going to do next, but we know we have till November.
Right.
Turns out we don't. We have until June. So we still don't know what's going to happen next. So we're in the state of uncertainty.
Right.
It's not really any different than things were before.
No.
We were also in a state of uncertainty. We just thought we had more time before we really had to face the uncertainty.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe it just means that we wait, like you were saying, you just wait until something confronts you, and then you know what to do at that moment. And you don't really have to do a lot of premeditating plans and analysis and strategy and plot out the next 5 years. And that's not what Aries energy would point to.
No.
I mean, it's more like a spontaneous reaction.
Right.
And a courageous reaction to whatever it is that's happening.
Right.
Which is uncomfortable. I mean, most people don't like to live like that, because we want to know, we want security, we want to have some certainty, we want to have some reassurance. I mean, we've been struggling with that ourselves. I mean, just because we use everything is working out perfectly, why do we use that? To reassure ourselves,
right,
and to remind ourselves. It's not because we know 100% all the time that everything is working out perfectly. We have to have it on our wall because we forget that that's the case.
Right.
And that we can trust what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I think the thing about accepting demons or accepting the suffering also is to help us let go of our preferences about what's going to happen. We don't know which way it's going to go. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bad. Right. Or like what we think is going to be bad may not be bad. And what we think is going to be good may not be good. Right. So it's better to just be open to accept whatever it is and then learn whatever we can from it.
Right. Yeah. We just have to, I mean, we don't have to, but we're learning that we have to, Katana and I, we have to take the medicine that's being given to us, choke it down, and learn from the medicine that's being given to us. Sometimes the medicine is direct conflict. Sometimes the medicine is deception. Sometimes the medicine is violence. Sometimes the medicine is painful, unwanted truth. But we take the medicine. We don't spit it out. We choke it down, and then we suffer through the side effects of the medicine. And when we come out the other side, we're greatly appreciative that we learned what that kind of medicine is like, and how to deal with that type of medicine if it encounters us once again. And that's what we're doing. It's not that fun at times, and not every single moment of life is a party. We're not at our perpetual birthday party where people are cheering us every second of the day and giving us presents.
Definitely not.
But also what we're doing is learning.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be alive. We're fully alive. We're not accepting lies as truths, and we're not perpetuating negativity or evil on others. So that's good enough for me at this moment in life. And it's also, it's just the truth. The truth is coming for you. It gives you a chance every day. You get the honesty of the truth, and it's up to you to decide what you'd like, what you want. Do you want to take the medicine and suffer for an hour through the side effects, or do you want to spit the medicine out and suffer for 10 years with the side effects of not taking the medicine and having to be, having your arm chopped off instead as a lesson,
It's interesting. It just made me think of another story from the same book, Zen Seeds, this morning. She tells a story of it's like a town where some people have been poisoned, and the poison, it's one of those stories that's archetypally shows up all different places.
Yeah.
The poison fucks with people's thinking. And so the further along you go with the poison, the more diluted you get in thinking that you're not sick. And so they won't take the medicine. So the guy is a doctor and he develops an antidote for the poison. And the people who are not yet very sick take it. But the people who have already been poisoned won't take it because they don't think that they're sick. And so he's distressed about what to do because he knows like his children and this whole town are all going to die if they don't take the medicine. So what he decides to do is he leaves town and says he has to go do some emergency thing or whatever. Then he sends word back to the town that he has died suddenly, knowing that this is going to distress his children and everybody's going to be distraught. It works. So the children, his children, and I think they're adult children, are so distressed at this news. Oh my God, our father has died suddenly. We weren't expecting this. Everything's thrown into the air. They're suffering. Then they take the medicine because they are so, it's like it brings them back to their senses, the suffering. And then I assume he returns and gives a good, I told you so. I would, but it's a good story because I think it's what you're saying about taking the medicine. What does it take for us to recognize that we need the medicine in the first place? I mean, I think that's the problem that's happening in most of society at this point, is that there's not even recognition that it's sick,
right?
That it's poison. So no one will take the medicine because they don't even know that they're being poisoned.
Right.
So that the first way to get to this realization is to know that you're suffering, and that will lead you to seek the medicine, hopefully.
Right.
And sometimes it's extreme suffering that's required before people will take the medicine.
Right.
I mean, we both know this from experience.
We sure do.
I mean, I think it's important too. I was thinking about this when we were just to do the podcast, to just be honest ourselves, of Aries honesty,
Yeah.
of we don't know what to do either.
No.
And then I was thinking, oh, maybe we should just put it out there. Like, okay, here's the situation. We have 2 adults, a child 50% of the time, 2 dogs, and 2 horses.
Right.
And we will need a new home by January.
Yep.
But January. Why did I say January?
I don't know.
Interesting. June.
By June, yeah.
June 2024. It's April. We're going to need a new home in a couple of months for all of us. And at the same time, our work is currently tied up with where we live. I mean, what we've been doing is a trade of horse care for housing.
Right.
We want to do something possibly like that again, because we are interested in this value for value idea of the trade. And we've chosen to not invest all of our resources into the financial system and making money. So we don't want to go get a loan from a bank, and we don't want to commit to the financial slavery. So we're looking for another kind of creative situation, but also one that will help us move to the next stage of our lives. And so it's been an interesting thing because we've been exploring, what do we want to do? What is our identity? Who are we? What are we good at? What kind of work do we want to be doing? We've also launched a new business in this time. I have started putting it out there, which we can put a link to that.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the show notes of this episode to our new business, which is called Land Horse Consulting.
Yeah. And there's a lot on there too. I mean, about us too, if people are curious.
Right.
But yeah, so we're open. We've put it out to the universe that we're seeking the next opportunity where we can be useful and also where we can be supported, and that there can be some sort of value for value exchange where our presence, either to help the land, to help the horses, I don't know.
Right.
To whatever else we're needed for, that we can find a place to go to do that. Are you hearing talking?
Yeah, they must be doing, they're doing, the people that came to do the, I don't know what they're doing, with a trailer. Someone came with a trailer to do something, so they're probably looking around the house. God knows exactly what. But yeah, there's talking of people outside.
Weird. It's like just getting it through the microphone.
Well, we can hear it better because we have the mics on and headphones, so we can hear it better.
I see.
You probably won't be able to hear it in the mic, I doubt.
Okay.
But we can hear it really good because we have the mics on and we have.
I see.
The people are talking not too far away from our little tiny home.
I see.
So, yeah.
Do you think we need to pause the recording? Turns out they're standing right outside our door.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Okay.
It's all right. I mean, here's the reality. If you're listening to this, actually, I've been wanting to say this because I've noticed. If you're listening to this in Nepal, Kathmandu, or Indonesia, thank you for listening. I greatly appreciate the listeners in foreign lands. We've been all over the place in past lives, and we understand what it means to be living in a mountain, living in the middle of nowhere, living in Nepal and Kathmandu, in Tibet, in all these contested lands on the earth. And we greatly appreciate your tuning in to our way of speaking, and we hope that you can understand what it is that we're saying if you understand English. And if you can't understand English, I hope that you just enjoy the tone of our voice and the calmness of the frequency of the sound of our voice, even if you don't understand what the fuck we're saying. I greatly appreciate you listening to it because it helps us. I've always wanted to go to Nepal and the mountains and see some of these historical places on Earth. So I appreciate you listening. If you're one of those people out there in Nepal, Indonesia, Thank you. Also, what were you saying before we got interrupted by these people?
We talked about land horse a little bit, and then we were talking about
Oh.
seeking.
Yeah, so I wanted to say, thank you for listening to this podcast. And if you are listening to this podcast and you know anything about value for value, the value for value system means that money is useful, at least right now in society, but there's also another way to do things in life. Value for value means that if you get value from listening to us, that you return the value that you get by giving something. So we're trying to live like that. We need somewhere to go. We need somewhere to go that can accommodate 2 horses, 2 dogs, and a little girl, and 2 adults. We have a lot of skills, and not only do we have just skills, but our energy is a high value. We help everything that we are around, and we would like to help you, perhaps, if you're listening to this, and maybe you live in another country. I don't know. Maybe you have a farm or a ranch or some sort of operation that could use some help. Go to our website and take a look. Email us, call us. If you go to landhorseconsulting.com, our number's on there. We're open, and we're ready and willing to help those who are ready and willing to be helped and to receive the value that we have to offer. So I just want to say that if you're in another country, who knows where you're at or what you got going on, but we're open to the truth, and we're open to any type of excellent opportunity in life, and we're not afraid of it. So you don't have to be afraid to contact us. We're open to any types of contacts from listeners who are interested in what we've got going on and could help us, because we will help you. That's just how it works, the value for value system. So, now you know. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Outside, we had no notice. This is like when you talk about these afflictions of the mind. We had no notice that there was going to be people walking around our house on our day off. That could be the cause for a mental affliction called anger or annoyance, all that. What do you do when things that you think are going to be happening don't happen, and the things you don't like happen? What should you do when things that you perceive as not being something you like? What do you do when that happens? What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to get mad, start screaming?
I mean, it is an interesting question.
Yeah,
and we're struggling with it frequently. And I think because with Aries, action, direct confrontation, sometimes anger, but the trick is the right amount of force. I think Stephen Forrest says that. Maybe that's it. I don't know where that came from.
He did talk about that.
He did. Okay.
And when we were having the conversation with him.
The refinement of Aries is the right amount of force, not too much, not too little.
Right.
And that's the tricky part of it, of what is the right amount of force to deal with the situation. And I think with an Aries North node, for everyone on the planet, the obvious message is force is necessary.
Right.
It's not a Libra North node.
Right.
Libra is much more the politically correct, diplomatic, smooth things over, nonviolent way.
Right.
But that's not what's happening right now.
Right.
There's an Aries stellium, which is about to turn into an Aries eclipse. This is a serious influx of Aries energy, of awakening warriors. And what is it to be a warrior in the modern day, and how do we do it? And how do we do it without being driven just by our own mental afflictions is tricky.
It is tricky.
I mean, maybe that's why the Vajrayana, the tantric path, was traditionally secret, and it's only accessible by people who have worked a lot to get there. It's not just given to anyone,
Right.
because it is a difficult refinement, discernment of what is my own affliction, what's my ego, and what is actually enlightened action, what is ruthless compassion, and what is just my own selfish, I'm pissed because this is inconveniencing me. You know, it's tricky to determine.
It is. And for most people, I mean, I don't know why I say this. I don't know. I don't know most people. But if I had to make a blanket statement, it's difficult to be alive. And it's difficult to be met with things you don't like and know what to do. And the only way you learn is by trying out different methods. You could try out not saying anything. You can try direct violence by attacking someone physically. You know, like if you don't like what's happening, you could run at them, tackle them down to the ground, and start beating them to death. That's one option. You could yell at them. You could just calmly say that you don't like what they're doing. You know, these are all options, and it's up to you which option you need to do. But the only way to figure it out is by trying different options out. And the more further along you are on the path, the easier it is to let go of your personal afflictions of, well, this person is acting like this other thing in my life that is annoying me. It's not actually the person that's doing it. It's your past. They're acting like someone from your past. It's not actually them that's doing it. So you might react to them in a way that is disproportionate from the reality of what's happening. This person might be being mean to you, but what they're really doing is reminding you of your mom who was mean to you. So you react to them in a way that's disproportionately mean because you're just pissed that your mom treated you poorly for 25 years or whatever. So you have to learn the appropriate response to each situation in life, but it's not easy to do. And it requires some reflection and some letting go of your own mental afflictions to be able to just assess the situation in reality, in the truth. Is this really what's going on? Is someone talking outside enough for me to open the door and attack two people? You know, I don't think so.
Probably not.
I don't think so right now. You know, it's okay. I understand, and I'm not gonna get pissed about it. You know,
I'm kind of pissed about it.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I'm not gonna jump out there and attack anybody.
Right.
But I mean, I think that's the interesting thing about all this Aries stuff is that what is the message? I mean, it's become completely unacceptable in mainstream society to be angry now. The only places you're allowed to be angry are typically male environments. You know, we've talked about this, like the army, male trades, construction worker, things that are usually dominated by men. It's still allowed to be angry, to be direct, to confront people. In every other realm of society, it is not allowed and acceptable in any way. It's not even acceptable to be assertive and direct and to just say, and I think some of this is the Pluto and Libra generation has put this extreme control over society. And with all this Aries stuff, then this conjunction's coming with Jupiter and Uranus, which is a shakeup of everything that's been. But anger has a role, and it has a function. It has a clarity, I think, that is necessary to cut through. And it has an energy that is also it just gives you energy, literally, to do things, to take action, to get through. A lot of times anger can fuel the energy to do something like leave an abusive marriage. How do you do that? You've got to have extreme amount of energy and courage to get through that. And where does that energy come from? I mean, some of it can come from anger. It can be a very useful fuel. So I don't know. I think sometimes that with all the Aries stuff going on, the message is we got to bring back anger. We got to bring back consequences. You know, people now almost have no consequences. We've talked about that too.
Right.
For anything that they do or say. They just think it's going to be, you know, people are just going to tolerate whatever you do or say because it's no longer acceptable to just punch someone in the face, which I think is wrong.
Right.
I mean, when I was boxing hardcore, I used to just feel like, damn, sometimes the best answer is to punch someone in the face. That is what is needed because there is no other way to communicate what's needed to communicate. There's a limit. There is a wall here. There's a boundary. You can't cross it. And just telling someone there's a boundary here and you can't cross it does not convey the same message as if you cross this boundary, I will punch you in the face. That's very clear.
Right.
You know, to humans who are very physical, that gets a message across. Words don't always work. In fact, most of the time they don't work.
No.
I mean, you could say whatever you want, but people don't respect it no matter what you say.
No.
They're just not afraid of words.
No.
People are only really afraid of an actual physical consequence for their actions. And the loss of that fear has led people to do things that they would never do before, which actually the computers and robots and phones and Instagram, you know, is enabling this because there's no consequences.
Right.
I mean, it used to be you wouldn't say, there's some things you just wouldn't say.
Right.
Because you might get punched. Now, there is no fear of that. So you can just say whatever you want, especially if you're saying it through the computer.
Right.
Because no one even knows who you are.
Right.
You know, this has led to a massive deterioration in society, I think. You know, why is it wrong? Why, you know, why is violence wrong? I don't know. I don't know that it always is. I mean, obviously, torture is wrong. Obviously, a disproportionate violence is wrong. But I feel like violence and with the animals, they show that as well. The horses don't care, you know. Sorry, I'm all like my congested in my throat.
That's okay.
But, you know, Vajra, our mare, is an Aries sun. And she will bite you. I mean, she doesn't bite us, but, you know, she'll bite another horse or try to kick another horse. Like, no, she does not care. She is not trying in any way to control that impulse. No. That is the way she communicates. You get in my space, I will bite you. You know, that's it. It works.
It does, yeah.
You know, I mean, so why the fear of that, I think, is sometimes necessary to just keep people in line, really. I mean, because of mental afflictions, because of the ego's power, because of demons' power, you know, those things can take control to the point where selfishness runs riot and it just will stomp everyone else out because of the ego. And the only way to stop it is by hitting an actual wall of it will not work. And there's different ways of conveying that, but I think a physical limit is one way.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth. If you do the wrong thing to the wrong person, they might attack you, and that's okay. You should know that. It should happen to more people. If you've never been attacked, you should get attacked. In the movie, in the book, Fight Club, one of the tasks that Tyler Durden gives to his recruits for Project Mayhem is go outside and get in a fight. Provoke a fight outside. So these guys that are in Fight Club, they go out and they provoke a fight, and it's hard. Hardly anyone fights back. They try hard to get someone to attack them, and hardly anyone does it because everyone is so, you know, that we've been pussified. The world has been pussified, and it's an example of what has happened to humans. There used to be a time when there were consequences for things that you did in life. You know, you should have consequences. If you do something wrong, you should be punished for what you do. If you treat someone poorly, you should be punished for.
You should even just be I mean, before punishment would even just come a response.
Right.
You know, it's like punishment is after the fact. And that's a whole other ethical question of, does punishment work? Is punishment ethical? Is it moral? You know, I'm not even talking about punishment.
I guess I was just thinking punishment, like elbowing someone.
Oh, yeah.
Flying elbow is punishment.
Yeah.
You've invaded my space that I don't like, so I'm going to do a flying elbow at you.
Right.
And hopefully, actually, whatever happens. You know, maybe you'll defend yourself and win the battle. I don't know.
Right.
But the flying elbow is an example of a boundary and a response to something that is it's the right response in some cases.
Yeah, it is the right response in some cases. And I think I would make a distinction. That's not punishment. It's just the truth.
Yeah.
You know, that you've gone too far and now you're in my space and that's not acceptable and you're going to meet this. It's not punishment in the sense of like we're meeting out punishment because we're determining what's right and wrong. It's just the reality of if you go up on Vajra's right side unexpectedly and do something, you know, she doesn't like that. So she will tell you that, nope, what is that? The sphere of intolerance.
The sphere of intolerance.
We got this word from the book Paddock Paradise by Jamie Jackson. He did a lot of studying of wild horses, and he talks about how wild herds have this sphere of intolerance. And we really like the phrase because it just reminded us of our way of life, you know, where within the sphere of intolerance, it's like there's limits. You can't come within this line without having some kind of consequence for it, or there's something there that you just shouldn't do it. I mean, I think this wouldn't be necessary theoretically in a world where everyone was a good person and people just intrinsically knew right from wrong and they treated other people with respect. That's not the human world. So, you know, it's necessary. If people can't figure it out on their own, then you've got to help them understand you've reached the limit and that's not going to be tolerated. I mean, I think this thing about ruthless compassion as well is a important lesson that if people never meet that, they're not going to learn.
Right.
You know, if you never have someone scream at you because you did the wrong thing, you're just going to keep doing the wrong thing.
Right.
Because there's no consequence for it, you know. But if you do the wrong thing and then something happens, you're going to learn, oh, I shouldn't do that. Right. That doesn't work. It's going to lead to something I don't like.
If you throw a ball at a wall, the ball's coming back at you. If you don't want the ball to hit you in the fucking face, don't throw a ball at a wall. This is how humans should be. Yeah. If you don't want to be smacked, don't throw a ball at a wall because the ball is going to come back at you. Right. That's how all interactions should be. Yeah. If you want to be, I believe this is called the golden rule. Treat others as you want to be treated. Right. If you want to be cuddled, then act cuddly. Yeah. Be cuddly. If you want to be choked, then act like an asshole. Right. You know, don't expect to be cuddled when you're acting like an asshole. Yeah. You're going to get choked. Right. That's the truth, and you should figure that the fuck out. Everyone, and we're figuring it out. Here we are. We're figuring it out on a daily basis. Yeah, and we're not afraid of the truth. We're not afraid for an attack. We're not afraid to tell the truth to those who want to attack us. It's okay. You know what's wrong with that? You know, like people are so. Impressed with Joe Rogan. His podcast, you know, is very popular. Joe Rogan will choke you the fuck out. Right. He knows how. Right. He's trained. Right. But he's also a very calm person. He's got intelligence, intellect, curiosity. But he'll choke you. That's okay. What's wrong with that? That's great. Right. I want to know the truth. I don't want to be covertly choked and call it a hug. Right. I just want to get choked.
Right, which is another benefit of the Aries style is it's direct. You know, it's better than manipulation with the Pluto and Scorpio, the manipulative ways of being disrespectful and being harmful, but calling it something else.
Right.
You know, I mean, this is a major problem in the way people are communicating now. And I think more people have to see what's going on and just call it out directly. This is manipulative behavior. I'm not going to tolerate it, whatever. And then the person always acts flabbergasted. I'm not being manipulative. I'm just, you know, but it doesn't matter what they say because the truth is the truth.
The truth tells its own story.
Yeah.
No matter what you say.
Yeah.
And if you're being encountered with lies and manipulation, then tell the truth immediately. And the truth might be attack. It's okay. Attack whoever you need to. That's just how it is, you know.
Are we going to get in trouble for like inciting riots or something now?
No, you should be able to tell the truth. The truth will come for you.
I mean, actually, the thing about violence is I think, and a lot of times it's more metaphorical because actually all you really need to do in this day and age, especially, is tell the truth and people feel attacked.
Right.
You don't even have to hit someone. All you have to do is tell the truth.
Right.
The way you're acting is wrong. I'm not going to tolerate it. People fall over because they're so shocked that someone finally told them the truth.
Right.
So it's not actually that hard. You don't actually have to hit someone.
Right.
All you have to do is tell them the truth most of the time.
Right.
Obviously, if someone goes beyond that or they don't stop at that, then punch them in the face and learn how to throw a good punch before you do it. Everyone should know how to do that. And women can throw excellent punches as well because
they sure can.
Punching, the energy from punching doesn't come from the arm or the upper body at all. It comes from your hips. So women, you can throw a good punch if you learn the mechanics of it. And it feels great, by the way. There's nothing more satisfying than the smack of a punch onto a heavy bag or a mitt or something, you know?
It's true.
It's a very excellent feeling. And it's a good feeling of power and a feeling of ability and that you're capable and that you have more resources than you thought available to you. And maybe you just need to practice throwing punches and you won't ever have to actually punch someone in the face. But the practice of it is empowering in and of itself and changes your way, changes your consciousness because you stop feeling like a victim and you start feeling like you have a choice about how people treat you and what happens to you. And I think that's really the core thing that we need from the Aries North Node.
You have the power. You are the truth, and you can throw a punch. And I believe in you. Thank you for listening to this episode.
Soha.
Soha.